You are listening to the Marketing Equation Podcast with Martin Shervington.
Welcome everybody to the Marketing Equation. I'm Martin Shervington and this is Lee Odden. Welcome, Lee.
Hey.
You expected more of an intro then, weren't you? You expected me to go, and Lee. I haven't written any intro up. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I was looking for the radio voice, Martin.
Oh, well, this is it. This is the extent of it. So, who are you? What do you do, Lee?
Who am I? I'm a guy. I'm a marketer is what I am. And I'm lucky enough to work with a nice group of 26-7 talented marketers here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are an agency called Top Rank Marketing. And we serve content-centric marketing consulting programs for companies like LinkedIn and Dell, and we recently just signed up one of Virgin's brands, actually. So, yeah, we get to do some fun stuff with some really cool companies.
This is good, and you're an early riser as well, which is how we connected in social media marketing world, is because we had the only two up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I forgot that bit in my credentials, early risers.
You got to add that in. It's very important. But we're going to talk specifically, even not particularly, that's another word, is influencer marketing.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to talk about. Yeah. Now, I did my research, believe it or not. Firstly, you got me to write questions, which is always a result before these podcasts, number one. But number two, I went to Google keyword tool, and I went, how many people, it's almost like roulette, isn't it? You're going to go, how many people are looking for influencer marketing last month? I'm not going to test you on this because I don't want to put you on the spot, but that's the first thing I did, and I'll take that in a sec. The next thing I did is I went to Google Trends, and I looked at when did this trend start with people using the word influencer marketing. So, the first one, 9,900 a month. That's all we're talking about, right? So it's really, compared to content marketing, compared to social media marketing, which are in the hundreds of thousands, it's a low volume. However, when you look at Google Trends, the kick, you're looking now, aren't you? The kick is like a full-on taking off trend since late 2013 by the looks of it. And that says to me, okay, don't worry about the 9900 number. Start looking at how this is going to grow. Because, and that's where we come in, is there's something going on about trust and about social media and about people's voice and about the network. We're still trying to everyone's trying to work it out. It's a fact, isn't it? I mean, if anyone says, oh, this is how it is, it changes, and we've got to kind of remap and relearn as things happen. Is that just me constantly learning? No?
Yeah. I think we're on the same page. I think, on the one hand, from a metric standpoint, one of the other things I look at outside of, you use keyword tools, for example, to anticipate demand, right? How many people are looking, but also look at how many people are creating content around the thing. And what I was doing was comparing, well, how many search results are there for the search query influencer marketing versus content marketing? There are 21 million search results for influencer marketing.
So that's a
46 million for content marketing.
Wow.
Whoa, wait a minute. That's only half. That's half, right? And Joe and all these people have been advocating content marketing. So there's an upward swing.
Subliminally,
right.
Well, look at this. Anyway,
that's right. And why? Why is this? Well, and there's studies to support, the whole trust factor, as you mentioned. People trust their peers. They trust even people that they follow on the social web, even people that are well known. In a digital or social context, more than ads, more than marketing. There's obviously going back to banner blindness, to the increase of ad blocking technology, 140 million installations of ad blockers, right? And that's not going down anytime soon. And so because people don't trust formal marketing messages and the sort of very brand-centricness that's occurring a lot in marketing, especially those trying to monetize in the short term content marketing by only publishing brand-centric messages, consumers are looking for other trusted sources. And influencers, the notion of influencer marketing is attractive for a couple of different reasons, good and bad.
Well, let me dive in. Before we get to the good, let's give some definitions then. Let's go for what is influencer marketing and what isn't it?
Well, I have a definition that I like to use, and it's a practice of engaging both internal and external subject matter experts that have active networks, right, for the purpose of affecting a business outcome for your brand. So to break that down, I'm talking about defining, everyone's influential about something, right? And it's not something that you can just proclaim. It's earned, right? It's given to you. And it's also temporal. Someone isn't, unless you're a big celebrity, you're not famous all the time, 24/7. And there's some fluctuation to it. So when you look at what is influence, you have to look not only at the famous people in your industry, but you also have to look at inside your company, your employees, your clients, people in the media, people in the community, as well as traditional influencers. So we look at those internal and external people who have subject matter expertise. They have thoughts that go along with that thought leadership, but they also have active networks. And sometimes those networks are huge, and sometimes they're very small and niche. But what matters is that when they say something, they inspire action amongst their community. And that's how I define influencer marketing. Very long-winded, but of course I started with something more succinct. What it's not is just getting people with high fan, friend, and follower counts to say something nice about your brand, to include them in a link bait list and optimized for keywords, right? That's really not what it is, or at least that's not what successful influencer marketing is.
Interesting. Okay. I've got a list of questions here, but I'm actually gonna go off a little script. Go
organic,
even.
Martin.
I'm gonna go organic. But the thing I look at that, and this, you're talking about companies, and you're talking about the individuals within companies. How does it differ then? 'Cause I'm still trying to figure this out. To having ambassadors within your business, and I sort of I always say, how's it different to brand advocacy from within? And are we kind of overlaying terms in a way for very similar things?
Right. Well, I think, it depends on how a company approaches influencer marketing. Sometimes companies will approach influencer marketing like advertising, and they'll literally go to a marketplace and shop for influencers or creators, people on Instagram, YouTube, blogging, and Vine, and Snapchat, and whatever, and they'll literally buy product placement, so to speak. So people look at influencer marketing as a campaign. It's you pay to play advocacy, but it's not genuine, right? It's product placement.
Yeah.
Alternatively, there's relationship oriented programs that identify people in the community or internally that are already raising their hand. Either they are passionate about the topic or they're already an advocate to some degree.
Yeah.
And so the brand can identify those individuals internally and externally and then activate them, identify them, invite them to participate, co-create, and make something together because they have something in common.
Yeah.
Right? And that's where the difference is, I think, in where brands look at influencer marketing as an advertising channel versus those who are looking to, create relationships that can result in placement and mentions, but also ultimately it turns into advocacy.
Yeah, and it's to me that you get into this partnership situation, which we could see for years kind of brewing, but it hasn't been formalized in a way for individuals. As a business, you do. As a business, you often say, well, I'm working with, and you work on projects together, and you co-brand stuff.
Right.
So,
and there's value that, it's I guess in PR they call it borrow to build. You borrow the credibility of someone else to build your own. And that's sort of a cornerstone for a lot of people that are involved in influencer marketing because, they have a product, they have their brand, they have something that they want to be known for, but they don't have it yet. And so they find those that do. And through co-marketing partnerships or working with influencers, acquiring companies, whatever you want to call it, they can, by affinity, grow what they're looking for to be known for, or as I like to say, be the best answer for, by working with someone who already is.
Cool. Okay, so let's go to networks. What defines an influencer within a network? Do you in your head kind of grade people and go, okay, well, this person's got 100,000 followers on Instagram. They're getting a 2% like ratio to the follower count. That means this. I mean, what's the model? Is there a model?
Intuitively, and a lot of people, whether they may or may not admit this, there's a lot of intuitiveness to answering this question, and I'm just, it's practical. So who, in my mind, who's the best answer for virtual reality marketing? Maybe it's you. Like in my mind, because of experiences that I've had, information I've taken in, that is a part of it, and it's part of what you can do, talking to executives, frontline employees, customer service, product marketing managers in your company. Who comes to mind as the best answer for this thing? And then you can use those sort of brainstorm ideas and you can bring them into a tool. And we work with a lot of different companies. So if I'm looking for bloggers, I might go use GroupHi, right? Or if I'm looking for, there are specific tools for Instagrammers or YouTubers or whatever, or Twitter. I like to use BuzzSumo or FollowerWonk.
Yeah.
The more sophisticated tools will look at three fundamental things. And I look, number one, at topic relevance, right? To what degree is what they stand for and what they publish as a content creator,
Yep.
how well does that align with the topic at hand?
Yep.
So there's got to be relevance. The second thing is resonance, meaning to what degree does their community interact with the messages and content that they produce? And the third thing is reach.
Yeah.
To what, that's network size. And where a lot of companies fall down is only relying on network size, right? The brand individual, so to speak, and their fame. So I think it's those three factors that help me define when I'm using a tool, who is influential about this particular thing, because I have expectations. My expectation is that if I work with that influencer, that we are aligned topically, that they have a significant reach,
Yep.
that I want to take advantage of. And when they do co-create with me or my client, that community that is a part of their world is going to take action, is going to share, is going to engage, download, sign up, register, or actually transact.
Do you think that what are the key metrics then? Do you think that the brand building aspect of it alone, so the like button, the plus one button, the even the visit to the site without taking action, do you think that has value in its own right? If so, how much value?
It's one metric of reach. We use an attract, engage, convert model for the way we do marketing. And because of our focus on content is almost always a focal area or a byproduct of our work with influencers. So of course, if you have content and you're using content for marketing purposes, all metrics apply that you're used to. So to what degree are we attracting an audience to that co-created content with influencers, right? So we have things like search referrals and links and advertising referrals and social referrals and things like that. Engagement, right? What is the experience we're delivering? So how long are they on the site? What paths through site?
So it's the same as any other marketing approach.
Same as any, except on top of standard attract, engage, convert metrics, we're looking at the influencers' behaviors themselves. How are they to work with? What's the quality of the content they're co-creating with us? How is their community engaging with the content they created with us? And did the content they co-create with us, did it generate any revenue? Did it, and then work backwards, did it generate leads? Did it generate inquiries? Did it generate shares? And, the more superficial you get. But we got to look at revenue. And there is a short-term set of metrics that go along with this. If I pay a brand individual on Instagram to include my product or say something in a product, and they amplify that to their community, I'm going to look at ROI or conversion metrics starting from day one. Those are my short-term metrics because it's like an advertising play.
Yeah.
But if I have a relationship, for advocacy with someone really well known, and I have them speak at an event for me, I'm gonna and then create some content around that, around thought leadership. That's a slow burn ROI. I'm looking to create affinity between their already established expertise and my startup company that wants to be known for those things. And I'm going to look at share of voice. To what degree, and affinity, to what degree are people, as a benchmark, mentioning my company and the thing I want to be known for? And as I work with these different thought leader influencers after months, how is that increasing? How much more frequently are people mentioning my brand name with the thing I want to be known for after I've worked with these thought leader influencers?
It's interesting, isn't it? If you think of this from almost a dating to a marriage point of view, it's like with the brands, you start off but if you get invited to a party, when you're on your own, it's just you, but eventually it's you and somebody, and then you become a unit, and then you're together. And the point is, that's almost what happens, is that people go, well, you're associated with that particular brand, so that it becomes comfortable that you are mentioning it and saying it's one of our partners, and other people know, well, that's one of your partners. Do you know what I mean? It's, to me, that I use the word partnership because that's the longer term, non-advertising sort of method, I guess. It seems.
It is. It is. And when it's an advertising, if you have a product that, consumer products, right, spontaneously purchased products, it totally makes sense to just buy that advocacy through creators, through a marketing influencer platform like Tap Influence or something like that, right?
Yep.
Because it's a superficial sort of transaction. But when it comes to larger consideration purchases, if I'm going to spend millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, either as a consumer or as a business, it makes more sense to develop a relationship and for that advocacy to be organic. It's cool to pay those people, especially if they're a professional and they're delivering a lot of output for you as a brand. But there are studies that show that when you pay those high-level influencers, organic amplification and advocacy for your brand will actually increase significantly. And it's part of the experience. You respect them enough to pay them at least a little bit for their time and expertise. And the likelihood of them organically advocating for you after that is pretty significant. Whereas if it's only paying for a spot, well, it's only pay to play. They only care about you as long as you're paying them.
It's short-term transaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to come on to something about a Wookiee mask. It's contextual at the minute. But before we get there, and Paul, my producer, can cut this bit out in a second because it's grumpy old man stuff for me. And you can not paying people. I think there's been a bit of an epidemic of social media marketing turning into make friends with people that have got a network and they'll naturally promote your stuff. And as a startup, you don't have to pay. All you've got to do is go and connect with those people. And I got grumpy about it because I felt... I suppose I don't want to use the word abused, but I felt that people were a little bit like not playing the game as they should be playing the game. Now, Where are you at with that? Because we all will, and just say this, and you keep this bit in, Paul. We want to help everybody. We have that culture, and we do our best. But there's definitely edges to what's paid and not paid. And when, for instance, I'll give you one of the gripes. When somebody comes and says, "Hey, share my stuff," and I'm like, but you come and at least warm me up a little bit. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
+1 something. Come and say hello on social. Come and build the relationship. And I think that's the bit that people miss. And if it's too wanty, then it's like, pay me. And that's the default. And we were talking beforehand about a certain ometer. That gets that kind of like switch kick off on our head that go, no, come on. So where are you at with that? Because I'm still trying to map what's fair and reasonable to do for free and what should be charged for.
Well, I think, unfortunately, a lot of people are very egocentric about their marketing and fail to plan simple, fundamental relationship skills or needs. And so when someone does send you a request, hey, we're doing this thing, can you please help me share? I think about, when's the last time you contacted me? When's the last time we actually had an interaction?
Yeah.
So, when you get an approach like that and someone met you once 5 years ago or a year ago, and it wasn't really a meaningful connection, but they were trying to do what you just said. They're just trying to make a connection with you because they think you're influential. And then 6 months later, or often on LinkedIn or somewhere that, 2 days later or 2 seconds later, you get this request and it's asking for something. And it's just kind of like, you're not really motivated. So it's not just an opportunity where they should probably pay you because there's no other context in relationship warming you up to do the thing because you're a good person. But it's also about the need to allocate time and resources to cultivating a relationship with people because the return, it's not effective to not take into consideration the need to warm up. It's not effective or successful. You won't be as successful if you don't allocate the time to understand what is it that they're not getting that you can give them. And it may be exposure in a unique way that they really want, not money. Who doesn't want money, though, of course. But it may be something else that you are in possession of in spades, and they're devoid of it. And it would be very easy for you to give them that thing if you only bothered to figure out what it was. And so that's where I'm at. I think if it's short term and just like, hey, out of the blue, I'm going to ask you to do this thing, you should probably compensate them and they'll do the thing that you're asking them to do as long as it's still aligned. But otherwise, organically, you should really, brands need to allocate time to maintaining their relationships with influencers in between campaigns, in between influencer programs. And I think it's really worth using their tools to make this happen, obviously. But just being thoughtful is also part of it, too.
Yeah. Cool. Let's talk Wookiee masks. So this has gone off this week.
Candace Payne.
And it's what?
Her name is Candace Payne.
Candace Payne. So
Wookiee mom, the Chewbacca.
So explain what happened then. Go on.
So, Candace, this woman in Texas, a stay-at-home mom with 2 children, had just gone to Kohl's and returned some stuff, and she bought something for herself to celebrate her birthday. And this woman is very, just so genuine and charismatic in a down-to-earth way. And so she's so excited and showed this genuine just glee after she put on this Wookiee mask or this Chewbacca mask, right? And so what is it? 148 million views on Facebook alone. So obviously this got her a lot of attention. So Kohl's delivered extra Chewbacca masks to her family, as well as $2,500 in gift cards. And Facebook flew her out, and Mark Zuckerberg had someone in a Chewbacca character, take photos. She was on the James Corden show.
I saw that. That was funny.
Abrams showed up.
Yeah.
God. Amazing.
Yeah.
So and so she was also on the talk show, and she was also on Good Morning America and many other shows. But here's the cool thing. It's in this case, it's not just the mask. It's what's behind the mask that makes this special. It's sort of the confluence of opportunity, right? Yeah. What's going on in the world, and this woman's skills at she's very articulate. She's inspirational because she's tying it back. Hey, everyone needs a laugh, don't they? It's the simple things in life. And so she's a very confident person. She's shooting behind-the-scenes video. She's going to this Good Morning America show. She's like, hey, I'm following the guys with the headsets, and this is going to happen. She's not nervous at all. It's amazing and a very unique situation. She's instant influencer. I wouldn't be surprised if she got her own TV show or something, to be honest.
Yeah. It's interesting because Kohl's jumped on that. And then people are now talking about how they jumped on it. So we're looking at, this is how it works when it just happens organically. Yes. So it's really what you were saying is somebody liked their product that they were selling, did something with the product, and then it went. That's what people are trying to do, isn't it? In that organic way, is instead of seeding it to somebody, it's finding those people. I like that approach, you see, is when somebody is writing about your brand or produces the video. It happens that I write and produce videos for brands. But when they're doing that, it's like, go and build a relationship with them. They're saying, and in the most natural way, I like what you're doing. And I think she was even more natural than that, to be honest, because we're marketers, we're often, constructing a situation. But that seems, I bet they got a lot of sales. They sold out of the mask.
They sold out. They sold out of the masks, absolutely. Yeah. And you're right. This is about where you're using a social listening platform, especially people. They're empowered to publish with these things anytime, anywhere. Yeah. So
that's his phone. If you're on the podcast, he was waving his phone just to make sure everyone knew.
Oh yeah, I'm waving my phone.
Sorry,
we're looking at each other. Yeah. So we're all empowered to publish anytime, anywhere, and social listening platforms, and that manifests as social content usually. And so if you're using a social monitoring platform of some kind. And I've been playing with BrandWatch a little bit lately.
And I've got to give a plug to TalkWalker, because they're our partners as well.
TalkWalker, there you go. Yeah, and so there's lots of them out there, right? Yeah. And so it's neat to be able to look for people raising their hand, so to speak. I'm raising my hand now for the brand.
Yeah.
Again, so when I was talking before about defining influencer marketing, I was talking about you look internally, look externally, look to your community, look to your employees. Who's already showing affinity to the topic, affinity to the brand, and then connect with them and activate them, support them the way, in the way Kohl's and Facebook both connected with Candace, the Chewbacca mom, in ways that gave them mutual value, right? She's, I guess, just enjoying the ride, but Facebook gets to highlight this amazing example of the most popular FaceTime, or not FaceTime, but real time Facebook streaming, whatever, ever. And then Kohl's has a happy customer that they can highlight and do a good thing for.
So they're leveraging the story.
Yes.
That's it. Good. Okay, last thought. So I know you've got to go and do some work in a second. Influencer marketing for the next few years. I mean, it's really early days. Any crazy wild predictions where it's going to go next?
I believe in the democratization of content creation for companies. And from a brand perspective, as you think about your dedicated copywriting content folks in your company, the demand for content is one of the biggest issues that Content Marketing Institute and Marketing Profs talk about in their annual report, both B2B and B2C. Create a variety of engaging content on a consistent basis. These are the top challenges for companies. So what this future of influencer marketing, I think, is what this confluence of content marketing and influencer marketing. And I call it, or I've been calling it, participation marketing, right?
Yeah.
Participation marketing is a participatory, or like, as I said, a democratization of content creation, where we, social media, community management, influencer, and content, we identify individuals who are passionate about things and find ways as a brand that we can partner with them. And we can work with established influencers, but we can also identify people who are coming up in the world, and we can help them become more influential, right? What it was, a brand individual. A brand individual is popular, but an influencer creates popularity. And so as a brand, you can create more influence for yourself as a company, not only by working with established influencers, but by working with other individuals and co-creating content to help them become more influential. That affinity that you're passing to them is going to come back to you as they rise as a star in their respective area of expertise. So I think that's the future, is, the sharing economy, the whole democratization of crowdsourcing, so to speak, something that you can literally partner with your community on marketing content that you will ultimately then use to market to them.
Yeah.
I think that's the direction of influencer marketing.
And it's breaking down that wall between the brand and the people that love the brand, and it's bringing some of those people in.
Actually, absolutely. It's the honesty of brand, right? It's the transparency, so to speak, and it's really getting down to some old-fashioned, character traits of doing business, right? The whole trust and credibility. We do what we say we're going to do. We actually deliver on our promise. And it's really an honesty in marketing and communication and relationship that you have with your community.
Yeah.
And their participation is an investment in mutual success.
Perfect. Lee, where can everyone find you?
Well, you can go to the Google. You can go to toprankmarketing.com. That's our agency. We blog at marketingblog.com. Easy to find. And I'm pretty much a big fan of Twitter, and my handle across the social web is my name, Leodden, Lee Odden.
There we go. Fantastic. Thank you very much, sir. That was Influencer Marketing.
Cheers.
Cool.
Thank you for listening to the Marketing Equation Podcast, brought to you by plusyourbusiness.com and effective.fm.